Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Erica. If you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. I missed you. Today, I'm going to be reading stories about haunted schools. I was on Reddit like always, and I came across some really creepy haunted school stories. I'm pretty sure most of us have heard of a story of a haunted school. O cuando éramos niños, we would always hear rumors about the school being haunted. But now that I look back, I'm like, low-key, era puro pinche chisme de niños. Ya desde chiquitos les gustaba el chisme. I'm pretty sure that was made up, huh? But whatever, it honestly made school entertaining because I've always been a spooky queen. A few years ago, I was starting at a new school, working with kids with behavioral special needs. This was a very old school in a small town. The school itself is haunted, and across the street is a haunted library. According to the town, the legend of the school says that a janitor hung himself on the third floor closet. 3 young girls jumped to their death from the third floor, and a nun, parentheses, it was formerly a Catholic school, got murdered somewhere on campus. The library was where the town hangings used to take place. Besides the library being the old hanging gallows, none of the other legends have proof. Though no proof, I have first-hand witnessed things that corroborate these legends. I grew up in this town hearing these tales for as long as I can remember. I had my first direct line to the school through my best friend's mom, who worked there. She would tell us how they would make sure to shut off all the lights at the end of the day before leaving. But every morning, they came into the third floor and the janitor's closet light was on. This is supposedly where the janitor had hanged himself. She told me she would walk the grounds in the evening for exercise before going home, usually without issues. One day though, she had just clocked out and was making a small loop around the school, and she saw a figure in the tree ahead of her. She describes this as a woman in what looked like a habit. She said she couldn't see her face, but could make out the markings and could see a nun. She quickly walked to her car and never saw the woman again. Now, onto my personal experience. I had just finished a full day of working with some very challenging teens and was wrapping up my paperwork. Being new to the behavioral school world, I tended to take longer than most others with my paperwork and was often the last to leave. Many nights, it would be myself and my boss closing up the school. This particular evening, myself and another teacher 2 doors down in the last classroom of the hall and my boss were working late. Over the course of the day, I had accumulated some questions I needed to ask my boss and was packing up and planning to head to her office. Just as I am trying to close up my bag, I see a woman walk by my classroom, heading towards the end of the hallway. I figured it was my boss going to see my coworker who was that way. I thought this was perfect. I'd get to talk to her and my coworker who happened to be my work bestie. I grabbed my stuff, shut off my lights, and locked up my classroom. I was surprised to hear the silence when I reached the hallway. The walls were thin and my coworker's door was open, so I figured I would hear them chatting. I get to my coworker's class and she meets my gaze with a look of terror. I ask her what's wrong. She asks me if I saw her. Saw who? I asked. At this point, I had scanned the room and didn't see any strange person, or my boss for that matter. My coworker gets up and rushes me into the hallway, facing the end where the window was. She points at the window and asks once again, "Did you see her?" Finally, after a moment, I put together what she was asking. "You mean Mary, my boss?" "Yeah, I saw her this way towards you, but I never saw her leave." She said, "Mary never came to my room. That wasn't her." My face must have looked perplexed as she decided to continue her explanation without my reply. "It was a girl, a teen. She walked past my room, and as I ran out to see if it was a lost student, she went through the window." I quickly ran over to the window and tried to crank it open. This made no sense, as being a behavioral school, all of our windows were nailed closed. There is no way someone could have gone out of that window. At this point, I'm flabbergasted and my coworker is frantic. I go with her to get her things from her classroom and we leave, not bothering to say goodbye to our boss before we left. This was my scariest experience, but there were other small things, like locked doors being found unlocked in the morning or paper scattered all over the classroom. The school has been shut down and is being demolished in the near future. I can't say I'm sad to let it go. Oh my god, dude, she added a picture of the school and it looks so creepy. That place looks haunted as fuck. Like, for sure, dude. There are similar events that have happened here in Arizona. One school near Deer Valley community, north of Phoenix. A girl is seen falling from the roof. A young girl committed suicide in the late 70s from that high school. There are a few schools in Phoenix where you can hear screams at night. Glenn's Ferry School in Idaho. They give a tour every now and again. You can hear the janitor screaming as she falls down the stairwell. That town is small, laid back, with an undercurrent of strange. Stayed there at a motel. The bathroom door swung closed and locked while I was watching TV. Then the shower turned on and off several times. Not a shared bathroom. I spent the night many miles down the road in my truck. I felt it was safer. Oh my god, dude. And then someone else said, "I just looked up the story of the janitor and found this article from 1983. Very interesting and sad. Poor Ruth." Oh my god. Dude, the fact that there's proof, it's crazy how this article is still around. I'm really grateful when I see really old articles, porque dude, de esos tiempos ya no hay nada. I teach kindergarten in a building that is over 100 years old, built in 1907. And is on the National Register of Historic Places. My classroom is on the second of 4 levels. We don't use the top level at all because it's in total disrepair. Sometimes the auto flush toilet flushes on its own. Sometimes things fall off shelves. And sometimes the lights flicker for just a moment. I figured it's an old building, that's why. Anyway, last year around parent-teacher conference time, I sent home a little questionnaire for parents, asking what they would like to discuss at the conference. One of the questions was, what friends from school does your child talk about at home? Social and friendship skills are a big part of kindergarten. That's why I ask. 7 of the 20 children in class had Alex listed as a friend. There is no Alex in our entire school. No mames. I asked them who Alex was. Imaginary friends are common in young children, but for them to all have the same name was a little unsettling. They said things like the quiet boy, He sits on the stool by the bookshelf. He cries a lot. I figured it was just their imaginations and they talk to each other about it. Then yesterday, we were doing a titty up of the classroom. I moved some furniture around and one of the kids came up to me and said, "Miss Mau Mau, Alex wants you to out the stool back by the bookshelf so he can look out the window when you read stories." Shut the fuck up, bro. Ain't no way. It's creepy, but he thinks he's part of the classroom. Pobrecito, he actually enjoys the stories too. The high school I attended was said to be haunted by a girl who had been pushed off the bell tower and broke her neck, causing her to pass away instantly as she hit the ground. I believe it was an all-girls boarding school. There were a few small stories circulating about the school being haunted, but they could have been rumors and completely made up. However, I had an experience of my own that made me believe them to be true. I'll start with one of the stories I heard from others. Either a teacher or a student, I forget which, needed a guide dog or a therapy dog, which they would bring to the school with them. However, the dog would refuse to go anywhere near the stairwell, which led to the bell tower. It would whine and try to back up and wouldn't go towards the bottom end of the second floor ICT corridor, which is where the doors lead out to the stairwell. It's also where I had my own experience. I'd also like to add that there is no longer a bell in the bell tower. It wasn't there when I first started at the school, and it still isn't there to this day. I believe it was removed and the door leading up to it was sealed shut, meaning even if we ascended the stairs to it, we wouldn't be able to get much further than that said flight of stairs. Now to my experience. It was lunchtime and I'd taken a shortcut through the maths corridors, turning right into the ICT corridor on the second floor towards the door that leads to the stairwell. One of the stairs lead to a small foyer, and the canteen on the right and the other set of stairs led up towards the sealed off bell tower. As I was walking along the ICT corridor, I realized that it was awfully quiet. No one was around, no teachers or students whatsoever. It was so quiet, my ears rung. A set of footsteps joined me and were walking behind me about halfway along the corridor. I thought it must have been another student, so I didn't bother turning around to look at who it was. I just wanted to go get lunch. I got to the doors, which are heavy wooden doors that don't stay open on their own. They need to be pushed with quite some force and latched into a heavy-duty magnet that holds them open until you press a button to release them. The amount of times I was smacked in the face by these things is outstanding. So I get to the doors and I push one of them open, not bothering to latch it to the magnet on the wall, thinking that the person walking behind me will just catch it as I let it go and walk through it down to the canteen for lunch too. As I began walking down the set of stairs to the canteen, I suddenly stopped mid-step. Something didn't feel right, and I realized the doors hadn't made the noise they do when they slam shut, and the footsteps had stopped outside the door. I waited for someone to pass me on the stairs, but nobody did. So I turned around slowly, and the door I walked through stood open on its own without being latched into the magnet. Far enough to open that I could see down the corridor, but not quite far enough for it to catch the magnet and not stay open. And the student I thought was walking behind me is nowhere to be seen, even though I could have sworn They were right behind me, as their footsteps weren't even that far away. Before I could even gasp, the door shuts slowly, as if someone was holding it open, and then closes gently so it wouldn't make a noise. I literally couldn't get out of there quick enough, and I turned and ran down the rest of the steps. I never took that shortcut alone again, and always made sure that I went the long way around if no one was with me. What was even more weird to me was the fact that it felt like if someone was watching me and this whole event unfold. Creepy. Back in the first half of the 20th century, the ground where my former school is located, among other schools and a hospital, was a small underground mine. And a story says that a young boy who worked there died in an accident. Later on, the mine was closed and sealed, and the buildings and some small houses were built. My school was founded in 1938. The legend of the miner boy was quite famous among students and staff since I don't know when. It was the legend of the school's building. Everybody knew of experiences and apparitions that took place in the school labs, which were located at least 5 meters underground. A few years ago, a chemistry teacher claimed to have seen a boy's ghostly face appear on one of the many windows of the chemistry lab. And a senior student had an experience once in the physics lab. He was taking a makeup test and the table started to move on its own. He got out as soon as he could. That one I heard from him a few days later after it happened. Students of many generations, including mine, said that they felt a very weird vibe down where the labs were, and I can confirm the feeling. I always felt uncomfortable when I was alone in there and repeatedly felt someone watching me. I was never spooked by that poor boy on the physics lab, but surely felt like something weird was permanently going on. Dude, the fact that the classroom is 5 meters underground. Y si aparece el niño, he's probably like... This happened to me when I was 14. I am now in my middle 20s. The school has 3 floors. This happened in the 3rd floor, which we were in. It was after school. We were taking a private math lesson with my group, which was 4 in total. Around 4 p.m., we suddenly heard knocking on the wall from the classroom besides us and the sound of children. It was like the classroom was full. The teacher told me to go tell them to lower their voices. So I went to the classroom beside us and there was nothing. I felt confused than being scared, but I heard the voices coming, but this time from the last classroom in the floor. So I went there quickly and frustrated. I entered the classroom and it was empty. No one was in it. I stood there very confused, and there was a wooden chair in there. While still thinking where that voice could be coming from, suddenly the chair moved by itself, like if there was someone behind it pushing it, but there wasn't anyone. I ran very quickly to tell the teacher and the rest. There is no one there and there is ghosts here. The teacher saw my face going yellow and unable to breathe. She told me to calm down and stop joking. But again, the knocking on the walls came again. From the classroom that was next to us, with the voices of the children and with a lot of noise of desks and chairs moving. We all ran away and never took a private lesson at school again. It really happened. My school is famous for being haunted. I wish they could all share the name of the school. It's just so interesting when you get to look up the place and you put two and two together. I'm just so glad that nothing happened to me in school. If something has happened to you in school, comment it down below or you can email me. Low-key, I love when you guys comment though because it gets juicy. And yeah guys, this is it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Háganme el paro, porfis. I'll be waiting. Did you subscribe? Turn on your notifications so you can get notified for the next time I post. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.